You're about to listen to a brand new episode of the Foreign Lady podcast. Make sure you like and subscribe. Now, let's get to the episode. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of the Foreign Lady podcast. I'm your host, Liz.
And the bottom line.
And we are back with another episode for you today. So, on today's episode, we are going to be talking about the comedian Drusky and his, I think it's viral at this point, but I think most people have seen it at this
Right.
point, but he did like this kind of skit talking about like the mega church pastors. And I thought we'd get into it and talk about it because there are some folks that are angry, that are like, oh, he's disrespecting Christianity. And I kind of want to get into this conversation of, you can make some criticisms about the church, but that doesn't mean you're criticizing the religion in itself. So we'll talk about that. And then I want to talk about, okay, we're going to talk about Nicki Minaj.
Mhm.
I don't know. At first, I was like, we know why she's doing this, right? Like, she wants her papers. She wants something. But then it got me thinking, I'm like, all right, like, this man is going to leave office in another 3 years. What's going to happen after that with the people that are, like, sucking up to him, And I don't know. We'll talk about Nicki and some of the comments that she's made, and then just kind of looking at, like, what drove her to that point, I guess. So we'll see. We'll get into it. I know you have thoughts. I'm sure you have thoughts. So we'll talk about it. All right. As always, how you doing? How's your day? How's your week?
This snow, it had us locked in pretty much over here.
Yeah, it's starting to snow again here as well.
I'm surprised. Like, just before I got here, I was actually shoveling snow for my church. Because I just was driving by and I was thinking, like, I wonder who's going to get stuck. And I was thinking about Sunday tomorrow. I don't want anybody, like, having to struggle to walk up any steps. I shoveled out the driveways and made some space for parking.
That's very nice of you.
Yeah.
Yeah, helping your community. That's very nice.
I do try to do that sometimes because it's like at some point we all gonna need help. We're all gonna get old, and I hope somebody just like without having to be asked, they're just like, do you need some help? Let me do this for you.
Yeah.
Even recently last week, this elderly gentleman, he was clearly walking with a limp, putting air in his tires, and then I was like, "Sir, do you need help?" He's like, "Why do I need help?" I was like, okay, like we just gonna like clearly he was an elderly man walking with the limp and it was cold. It was like the day before it snowed and it was super cold that day. So I'm like, I should offer to help this man. And he's like, why would I need help? And then I was like, it's that pride, just like he wouldn't take it. I was like, okay.
Hey, I don't know if it goes away with age or it just gets worse with age. Who knows? But
yeah, man. I mean, like me, I probably could be like that. I'm like, nah, like I'm probably gonna say yes deep down. Like, nah, you can handle this, young man. You can handle this.
I think about that. I'm like, what kind of older elder woman would I be? Like, I don't know. I've given it some thought. I'm like, I'm not like, would I be the cranky old lady, or would I just be like the one that says everything? Even though I do that now, but like, would it be worse?
I will hope
Because
so.
like you don't have a filter.
I hope as I get older, I have no filter. I'm just saying like it is. I'm too old to argue with you. I'm gonna tell her like it is.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm gonna be that person.
I
I'm
feel
just
like
like,
that's the
yeah,
perfect thing
I
for
don't
you.
have a filter. Yeah, for sure.
That should be like a perk for any person over a certain age. Like you just get to say what's on your mind and call it like it is.
Yeah, I think over 60, you can pretty much say whatever you want.
Yeah.
I think that's a good, like, what is it? Viewpoint? No, you know what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
It's a good mark to just be like, yeah, I don't really care. I have more years, behind me than I do in front. I can say whatever I want. So I love it. All right, so let's get into our topics for today. So this skit makes me laugh every time. So Drusky he's a social media comedian. At least that's where most of his skits were. But he made this like really awesome like skit. I really think he should get his own show. Like people are like comparing him to like Chappelle and like the character work and some of the just really good like acting that he did on that skit. But the skit was about mega church pastors and how they treat their congregation and how a lot of them are just about like the money and how they're having like private jets and Rolls Royce cars and decked down in Gucci and Louboutins, and while some of their congregations barely have food to eat or can barely make ends meet, and they're still asking for more, still asking for more. I think that for, at least for me, that's some of the my hesitation with being in going to like a mega church, you know, like what are they doing with the offerings? Why is the pastor has more this and more that than his congregation? And a lot of them are like, yeah, we're helping the community, we're doing this, we're doing that, and it's like, are you really? Like, we're seeing you with the squinty eyes. Like, are you really helping people with the money that you are getting? Because you have a lot of tax benefits, which a lot of these churches, there's no regulations for how they spend their money because they're considered a nonprofit.
Yeah.
So, do you think he has do you think he's brought more attention to just the conversation that I think people are having? And it's not just American mega churches, right? It's all like, and like, look, the Africans are doing it too. I'm sure the Haitians are doing
Listen,
it too.
like you have responses from people in the UK, like pastors
Yes.
over there got upset. So a hit dog will holler. And I'm not mad at Drusky because this is his niche. This is what he does. You know, and I think, as they say with comedians, like a rule amongst them is that nothing is off limits. Well, he tested that theory. This is not off limits. And he can only make a skit based off what the rest of us see, off what we all see. He didn't make
Yeah.
this up out of thin air. He took actual examples of some mega churches and how it becomes a sort of entertainment. And then you see scenes where they're, you know, asking people for money, like 1,000 on top of 1,000. And if it's anything less, they're calling you out and embarrassing you. And you're like,
Right.
especially with that one pastor who said, close the doors, you know, just close the doors, like not letting anybody leave unless he's able to gather $20,000.
Apparently, these are like, his skit is based on real pastors.
Yeah.
Like, he didn't just get this from out of nowhere. Like, these are real pastors that he's talking about, which is really sad.
And I
But
think the
go
timing
ahead.
was perfect because you had that one guy, I think it was in Nigeria, who said the flood was coming and it didn't come, but he somehow at the end of it had a Mercedes Benz worth $85,000. You know, like, yeah, like this needs to be called out. We're not idiots, we're seeing it. And this concept that the church can point its finger at the world and point out our flaws for being worldly or whatever, but we can any point use our own minds and point a finger back at them. We can't point out any sort of hypocrisy. We just have to let you do as you please, and we have to be the recipients of your judgment. And that I find crazy.
That's where my criticism comes into play, right? Because then they'll look at it, they'll shift it, and like, you're being disrespectful to, Christianity, you're being disrespectful to God. It's like, God has nothing to do with this. Like, this has nothing to do with the religion itself. This has to do with the people. Like, we can criticize the people that are in these, that are quote unquote considered these false prophets. The Bible even warns us about this, right? It's like, that's why I'm like, I just don't follow anybody. Like, I gotta know that, or at least I have to feel like what you're saying to me feeds my soul, and I know that it's coming from an anointed place. I'm just not gonna be listening to you because you're pastor of a mega church and you have like billions of followers. That has nothing to do with me. Because when you're preaching, are you preaching for me to be able to, feel it in my soul and be like, yeah, like I got that message? Or is it just superficial of like, you hollering and hooping and this and that, and it's like, it does nothing for me. But I know, there are people out there who that's their faith is very important to them, and so they cling to their pastors, and they cling to this and that. And I think that honestly, I feel like that's what those pastors are relying upon, because people are always going to be coming to them. People are always going to need advice. People are always going to, pay their tithes and offering. People are always going to, their pastor is always going to be important to them. But are these pastors really doing the Lord's work, or are they trying to fill their pockets?
It's obviously that the churches gave Drusky this ammunition, and they want to make it seem as though what he's doing is making people question the church, question God, but it's really questioning your behavior, your leadership.
Yeah.
You know, people are seeing what you're doing, and as the Bible says, as Christians, we're the salt of the earth, meaning that our behavior can turn people away. if we're doing things the wrong way. People will have their own judgments about us. So it's only natural that when people see your foolishness, they think your religion is foolish. They think your God is foolish. So you have to cut the foolishness. You have to cut that out. You can't tell them not to see it and not ignore it. Their job is to use their own discernment and understanding. So as a church, as a people, you have to be an example. And if you fail to be an example, there are consequences. And that Drusky skit was one of them. So what I noticed is that some people who responded, they took that responsibility. They said, hey, you know what? We deserve this. While others made excuses. And I found that
Yeah.
just very funny. They mostly made excuses, how the world is attacking them. Like these that just are like out of this world.
Wasn't that one of these pastors came out and was like, "Oh, I was the inspiration behind the Drusky." Man, I can't remember the name of the pastor of the church. I think it was one of the churches in Atlanta or something like that. I can't remember the name of it, but yeah, I was watching in preparation for our topic today. I was watching some of the videos, and he came on there and he was like, "Oh yeah, like, I've seen the Drusky video, and it talks about me, and this is just an attack of the devil and blah 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 blah." And I'm like, okay, dude, like he wouldn't have anything to say if this wasn't, the template of what we're seeing, right?
Yeah.
Like if you didn't handle yourself in this manner, and again, don't know like some of these people that are saying, God called them and this, I'm like, look, I don't know who called you, right? Like whatever relationship you have with your almighty maker, that's between you and God, right? But I mean, there's nothing in the Bible that says that you need to get rich off of religion. Even Jesus, when he went to the temple, was like, not like he wasn't about people making money for the church. There's one thing for you to have tithes and offering, and I want to talk about this, right? I want to get what your opinion on this, because the whole tithes and offering thing, right? It does say that we should give a tenth of what we have to God, to God's house. But do you feel like a lot of these churches have kind of taken that and sort of used it to try and guilt people into giving more and more and more to the church, of like, well, you got to make sure you tithe, you got to make sure you tithe. Like, what is and I don't know if you know the answer to this or not, but where is that line of like, yes, I'm tithing for God, versus like, I don't know where my money is going. Like, is it going to help the church? Is it going into the pastor's pocket? Is it like, where's that line?
Well, I think tithe is very important because the church got to pay bills too. They got to keep the lights on too.
Right.
They have dreams of wanting to expand. Like like every church starts off small and they want to grow. I feel like if a church is being transparent about where the funds are going, hey, we want to have summer programs for our kids. We want to help them get into schools and different programs succeed out in life. We want to expand things of that nature. I am in 100% approval and support for it. And even the idea of, what? I want my pastor to look nice. I want the people in my church, what? If you've been working hard and you want to enjoy the fruits of your labor, I'm okay with that too. I'm not bothered by the idea that a pastor drives a nice car, has a nice house. I don't need my pastor struggling. I feel like that's a bad look for a church too. Like he
Okay.
shouldn't be living
Fair point.
in, abject poverty as a pastor. I don't
Hmm.
want him to do that either. I do want him
Right.
to have a life of stability. I do want him to live a comfortable life. None of that bothers me. But when you start
Hmm.
closing the doors and saying, close the doors, you're not leaving here until we get K, until we reach this amount, then I'm like, you've gone off you've gone off the deep end.
Got it.
So
Okay,
I
so
want,
there's a
yeah.
no, please continue.
Yeah, I want my churches to be successful. I want my pastors to look nice. They don't have to be extravagant, but I don't mind them having a nice watch, nice shoes. That don't bother me because you work hard too, and you gotta enjoy life too. But they shouldn't take advantage of people's finances or money, and they should be transparent about where the money's going.
I agree. I think that's where my because I'm gonna say it, I've been skeptical too, where I'm like, I don't know where this money's going. Like, I don't know if they're actually doing the outreach that they're sort of doing, or because I've seen those situations where all of the tithes are going right back into the pastor's wallet. And when you've been in that sort of environment, you're kind of like skeptical, but at the same time, it's like, well, the Lord requires of me to give my 10%. So it doesn't matter. One of my friends actually put it in a really like great way, where I was like, I guess I never thought about it like that. And I think that's sort of um like helped re-energize me to just doing it. And she was like, well, you are doing what God requires of you. Wherever else it goes, that's none of your business. The next person has to take the baton. So if you're giving your 10% to the church, you're giving it to the church. Whatever the church does with it, the money, that's on the church. They have to answer to that. And I was like, I guess I never really thought of it in that way. Which is a really great point, But anyway.
But I do have to do this. I
Okay.
have to defend the church because, as you know, my dad was a pastor. And so I've seen things from that side of it. Like
Mm-hmm.
most churches, if the pastor is really a man of God, he's investing his own money.
Mm.
He's investing his own money to start the church. He's paying all the bills, etc. And people have this mindset that the pastor has money. It's like that's not the case, especially if they're really a man of God. That's not the case. They're investing with their own resources. And then it's even harder to get the congregation to invest consistently. Sometimes they
Yeah.
might give in the month of September and skip the next 3 months before they give the next tithe. And
But
they'll
I
still
think
get
that was a
paid.
smaller church, right? Like your dad pastored a smaller church,
Right.
if I'm not mistaken. Right.
And I would imagine that that's still a problem even for like some of these mega churches where they automatically assume, well, they got money, so they don't really need mine. But if everybody
Mm-hmm.
has that mindset, who's paying those bills? Who's making sure the lights stay on? That's the pastor's role. He has to at some point put his foot down and say, hey guys, we need this income. And then it comes off like he's greedy for money when no, like, I don't think you guys understand. Not all of you are given. You think that's the case, but that really isn't the case. And, you know, I always say this: a pastor is one man who can take advantage of a congregation, but in the
Mm-hmm.
reverse, there's times where the congregation takes advantage of one man. And that can break a man's spirit. It can break him when, on top of paying for the church's finances, you have members coming up to him and saying, Pastor, I can't pay my bill. And the pastor feels like they have to now pay for this person's rent, pay for that person's lawyer or medical bills. They have to step in there because they're the pastor. And so it can be very discouraging for pastors as well. So I just wanted to say that let's not let the mega church pastors be an indictment of all pastors, because I feel like there's so many more
That's a
that are
great
doing the
point.
work.
That's a really great point. Yeah.
So many more out there doing the work, doing what they're supposed to do. They are helping the community. They're not trying to be flashy. They are taking money out their pocket to help their community. Their money that they don't even have, money that they're probably taking away from their own family to help the
Mm-hmm.
congregation. So I just want to put that out there for the pastors that are doing the work. That I got to respect them. Drusky is talking about a small minority. Like mega churches only make
Very
up,
small group.
yeah,
Yeah.
mega churches only make up 1% of churches. And he's only talking about the ones that actually do that.
Yeah. I think what really do you remember when was it Texas? Texas had that like weird weather thing and like everything was like shut down and everything.
Yeah, I know what you're saying.
You know exactly where I'm going with this, don't you?
Yeah,
Okay.
Joel Osteen.
Joel Osteen. Ever since that day, I was like I don't trust these people because when you have a church and you're supposed to be helping your quote unquote community, and this is the time to help your community, and you're telling them, no, we're not going to open our church for people in need. That's why God is God. Because how do you forgive that? Like, how do you, and you're supposed to be a man of God? Those are just the ones that we can see, that we've seen, let alone the ones that have happened that we don't even know about. So I don't know. Like, it's a business. Church has turned into a business. And I don't know if it's always been a business or it's just been like that since. However, these mega churches have been around. I don't know. But I feel like church is now like just a business.
I mean, it is a business at the end of the day, and people make it seem as though when they say the church is a business, they've said a bad word. I'm like, no, it is. It's a business, guys. Like
It's a business.
they require funds, to stay open. Like if they fall below a certain amount, they might close. And who do you then turn to for your spiritual advisement? For all your other needs. Like they have to stay open.
Question, right? So for these mega churches, I've gone to two of them now. The first one, I went with my mom, and we went there for years and years and years. But I was never like close with the pastor or anything like that. Like I wouldn't call him up or whatever and be like, "Hey, pastor, pray for me," or whatever. But I'm wondering, like with these mega churches, and they have so many different congregations, and I've been to smaller churches where I did know the pastor intimately, and I could be like, "All right, pastor, I need you to pray for me," blah blah blah. How do these mega, like, how do you have that connection with your pastor when you don't even know your pastor? Like you can't, it's not like your pastor has office hours. You can just go into and be like, "All right, pastor, I need you to, pray for me today," or you can call him up. And like, how do you, I guess I'm just trying to figure out like how do you build that connection when it's such a big church with so many, like, thousands of congregations, that isn't it kind of hard to do that?
Yeah, somebody once said to me years ago, they said if within a year your pastor doesn't know your name, that church is too big.
I went to one of the churches for 10 years and pastor didn't know my name.
Yeah, it's too
I
big.
don't even think I met him in like a one-on-one basis.
Yeah, and that's not their fault because it gets too big, and you probably didn't see that coming. Where it gets so big, you don't know who's who. But that's why it's like, you know what, like past this point, you want to start having a chain of command and other pastors so that you can, if you can't make the rounds, you know somebody else did.
Hmm.
You know, like if your church is too big that you don't know everybody, that most of them are strangers to you, yeah, we got a problem here. The pastor should have a close family relationship with his congregation.
Yeah, I don't think that happens in a lot of churches.
Hmm.
So, all right, let's move on. Okay, let's talk about Nicki. So, Nicki Minaj has turned MAGA. She is she has turned MAGA, and it first started when she was at the Turning Point, a conference that they had, and she came out, and Erica Kirk, I think that's her name, right? Erica Kirk, introduced her, and they talked about how Donald Trump was the greatest guy in the world. And then fast forward to her at press conference for like something he's doing, and she happened to be there, and she spoke for a little bit, and she said he is like the greatest president in the world, and she's gonna be a fan, and all these other things. And people are now like, was she pulling a Kanye? Like Kanye's apologizing for all of his comments, and now it's like Nicki's the new Kanye. Like, what's going on here? But what do you think of her sudden switch? And people are saying, well, it's because she needs something from him, right? Like, she's not a U.S. citizen, so if she cozies up to him, he could help her with that. Her husband is a sex offender. Her brother is a sex offender. She
That
got
one,
a lot. She got a lot going on.
yeah,
So, do you think this is a mutually beneficial relationship? What's going on? Help us understand what's going on
yeah.
here.
On top of her, husband and brother, she got several lawsuits, right, going on. So
Yep.
I feel like she's in a place
Her house
where,
is being swatted. She's got beef. She's got issues in the music industry for
yeah.
sure. So,
So she's pivoting and like, okay, where can I go where I could dig myself out of this mess because she's clearly in trouble. And the thing is, like, every time I see her at one of these right wing events, it looks so fake. It looks
hmm
so uncomfortable for her. Like, none of her pictures look authentic. And it's like the whale, she sticks out like a sore thumb amongst them. Like she doesn't belong. Like they're all looking at her like she's something they would buy at auction. No offense. But that's it's like every picture I see of her, it's like they're looking at her like
they're gawking at her.
they're
Yeah.
gawking at her like, oh my goodness, like that's their little fantasy. They've been waiting for a day to get close enough. And so like it just doesn't look authentic to me.
I was watching some of the videos online about her, and one of them stuck out to me, right? They were like, Nikki has been crying to the Black community for help. She's been telling us what's going on with her. She's been telling us that she needs help, but y'all didn't listen. Y'all drove her to the mega because she was out here crying in the Black community, and y'all thought she was crazy and da da da. And they're like, this is y'all fault for her. And I was just like, this is not our fault. Like, yes, she has like a couple of issues going on, but I mean, but then again, I'm like, if he could help her, I don't know, like, if I could sell my soul to the devil,
But that's
which is
exactly what
kind
it
of what
looks
it
like.
is.
That's exactly what it looks like. You're selling your soul to the devil. Even when that picture where they're holding hands, it just looks it looked like so like she was uncomfortable, like it's cringy.
It
Her
looks so
face,
weird.
yeah, like and then the way she's leaving compliments for him, like you don't really believe all those things you're saying about him. It feels like if you join that side, you have to spend
You
90%
have
of
to
your
kiss the
time kiss
ring.
the ring, stroking ego. Like you just have to like building him up, his ego, and I'm like, wow, it's insanity to me.
I I don't know.
No one. It's like it's funny because I kind of want to point out the double standard because
Okay.
if it's a black man who's doing this, he's in the sunken place immediately. He's just in the sunken place. He's lost, and we don't care why he's there. What reason he's there for? He's in the sunken places. He's a traitor. When we saw Nikki at these right wing events, I hear people saying, "This is strategy, guys. She's making money moves." I'm like, what?
Money moves.
Like
Oh my
some kind of
goodness.
like, guys, she's not on their side. She's just trying to, get something out of it, but she's not really with them. I'm like, no, like she's with them.
That's probably the Barb's trying to like defend her or whatever.
Yeah, and
Because
I'm just
yeah,
like,
that's not okay.
yeah, I'm like, and the thing is, like, I'm not in her shoes. I can't say what I would do, if I'm going through the things she's doing. But don't try to make it seem as though she's not lost. Don't try to make it seem as though she's not playing for the other team. Even if she doesn't want to, if she's on that side, she's helping them. And it works against us.
Mhm.
And right now, I just see her as a sort of Candace Owens replacement. I think when Candace Owens
Mm.
came out, sort of speaking against Israel in a sense,
Mhm.
the right let her go because she probably thought. I think Candace Owens thought she would be protected by the right her whole life. She would be this best friend to them as long as she, spoke against black people, criticized us, judged us. But the moment she started speaking against Israel, they dropped her, and now they're making her look like she's crazy. So now Nikki has been this replacement for them, but it's just not a right good look for her. I mean, I hope she gets whatever she wants, whatever she's looking for. I hope she wins because she's not going to recover from this.
Well, I mean, she got the gold card. Did you see that? She posted a picture of, so I think she got her residency now, or in the process of it.
Apparently, they said that gold card is meaningless. It doesn't hold any value. Apparently, like that's the information that I keep coming across. I keep coming across information, news articles where they're saying that gold card is meaningless. It doesn't give her anything. It doesn't, guarantee citizenship or anything. It's just for show. So I feel like that's how that side will always treat you. They will dangle what you want and make it sound like they'll give it to you without actually saying it.
Hmm.
They'll say maybe if you do what we want, we'll give it to you. And even when you do it, they don't. They'll
But
just
I
use
don't know
you.
how he could help her with the case of her brother and her husband, though. Those are all state cases.
Okay, yeah. I mean, presidents can't
Yeah, those
pardon
aren't.
that.
No, they can only do pardon federal cases. They can't pardon state
Okay.
cases.
I'm sure they would find a
So,
loophole. I'm sure they would do it,
right.
you know.
Right, that's what I'm saying. I'm like, maybe they'll talk, somebody, I'm sure that they'll find some kind of backhanded way. But as
Yeah.
far as, because I mean, they've been doing all of the legal stuff, so what's one more? But generally, presidents cannot pardon state cases. But I don't know. I mean, if whatever she's going through, if it's worth her having to sit at the table with the devil, then maybe she thinks it's worth it. I guess my question would be, what happens after he's not president anymore?
I think her career will never be the same. I don't think she'll ever be accepted back into the fold. I think once she aligned herself with them, they said she lost like 10 million followers, you
Mhm,
know?
mhm.
Because what could you go back to? Because the kind of artist that she was, it was very, say, raunchy. Is that the right word? Music
Yeah.
wise, that side doesn't accept it. And I mean, I don't accept it either, but I don't think you can come back to it after you're done. I think that would be too hypocritical. So I don't see how her career can recover. I think she's just really shot herself in the foot. And she's probably,
So do you think she's done?
yeah, I think she's probably choosing between the lesser of two evils. I mean, just like with these lawsuits and these things that are going on, she's probably looking for best case scenario. Where can I at least walk out of here with some level of freedom, some level of success? Because she's not going to be what she was ever again.
Is it, I don't know, for whatever reason, usually I would be like, Probably they're part of the sunken place or whatever. But for some, I don't know, for whatever reason, for her, I just feel sorry for her. I don't know why. Like I just feel like she's in over her head, and I do feel like she's been crying for help. I feel like all of the things that she was doing on Twitter and ranting about and saying and all that, I feel like it could be a cry for help. We don't know what's going on behind the scenes with her. Now there's some decisions that she's made that aren't great, like going to marry a sex offender, but well, that might not be have been the right choice. But as far as like her brother, you can't choose your family, so I don't want to go ahead and blame her and say, oh, whatever. So we could leave that. But if you're surrounding yourself with people um that are causing you more harm than good, then maybe it's time to rethink this. Maybe it's time to rethink your circle. But yeah, I mean, at this point, it's kind of too late. Like, she has a kid with him. They've been married a couple years. Like, she's clearly sticking with him. But then you went into that relationship knowing what will happen. You knew that this man had limitations. You knew what his history was, but you chose to marry him and have his kids. So you can't be coming to us now talking about you're this or you're that, or this is happening or that's happening or blah blah blah, because a lot of those things were your decisions. So I don't know.
For me, I have no sympathy. I mean, I don't want any bad to happen to her, but I want to hold her to the same standard I would hold anybody else who suddenly showed up on the other side. I think the phrase is, if you lie with dogs, you get fleas. You get in
Hmm.
bed with the enemy. This, what can you expect? I
Yeah.
would be hurt though if
Yeah.
I found out the reason she left was because she was choosing between the lesser two evils. I remember this one post she made about how there were times she didn't want to perform and she was forced to do it anyway. And you kind of have this mindset about the music industry, the industry itself, with Cassie, Diddy. You're kind of wondering, what is it like
Right.
for some of these artists when they're forced to be something they're not? Sometimes I look at some of these artists and I'm like, did you really want to go out on stage and dress that way or make those lyrics? Is that really who you are? Because a
Right.
lot of it is like, you had to know how derogatory this was unless somebody's making you, and in that sense, I would feel bad for her. I would feel bad for her. But you're also an adult. You can also walk away. You don't need to be a millionaire. You could come back and just be an average person. Other stars have done it before. They just gave up that life. It was too much for them. They saw something in Hollywood they didn't like and they left. The guy who was part of the Mummy series, Brandon Fraser,
But yeah, yeah.
I don't know if you remember what happened to him. He said just one day some executive touched him in the wrong way and he left Hollywood.
Yeah.
That was
Yeah.
really brave. Like, he just said, just one day somebody did something inappropriate to me. He just like, that was it. I'm out of here. And so I thought that was really something. So I just
Yeah,
hope
but
she.
there are some people that can walk away and there's some people that can't.
Some people, yeah, some people
They're
can't.
so addicted to that life, and they want the attention, they want the lifestyle, they want everything that comes with it. But it comes with a lot, with whatever good might come with it. It comes with a whole lot of bad too, especially the music industry.
Yeah,
That's like the worst of the worst, apparently. So I don't know. Nikki, we wish you the best of luck, and we hope you get whatever it is that you're looking for, but I don't know if there's any coming back from this one.
yeah. I just hate that they're using her like a sort of object to dangle in front of us. Like, see, look, young people, look, black people and young people
That's
here.
the other thing.
We
It's
have
like
one of your own.
Nikki is not our political on ingenue. Like,
Yeah,
we're not going to listen to her for political advice.
yeah,
So if that's what they're thinking, it's like no one is going to Nikki to be like, "Oh yeah, she's my moral compass
yeah.
for politics." Like, no. I guess my question is, what are they getting out of this?
Well,
Like the MAGA group,
I think as a group, it's like they're trying to say, look how we converted one of your own. I
I
think that's what
guess.
it's about. Like, we took one of your own and we brought her onto our side. Look how we've changed her and made her better. I think that's what it's about. I think it's about optics and imagery. You know, that is kind of like proof that the left is wrong because we took one of your own. One of your
Hmm.
own saw the truth and realized the left was the lie, the right was the truth. It looks like to me they're trying to rebrand her. Her demeanor's different. She dresses differently.
Hmm.
They're rebranding her as one of her own. I just think that she's just going to be somebody they use up and throw out when they're done. That's what I think is really going to happen. They're going to use her up and throw her out when they're done. I think just like with Candace Owens. once she's done what she's supposed to, they'll get rid of her.
Yeah, I think I think after the midterms.
Mm-hmm.
That's my guess. I think after the midterms, they'll be like, oh, no, thank you. You
Yeah,
can go now.
she's gonna be like, "Don't you remember our deal?" They're gonna be like, "What deal?
Yeah,
We
right.
didn't sign anything. Get out of here."
Exactly. Exactly. Well, thanks everyone for joining us. We really appreciate it. Make sure you follow us wherever you listen to your podcast, like and subscribe. You can watch us on YouTube, watch the video version of it at the Foreign Lady Pod on YouTube. So, and follow us on our social medias as well. We're all over the social medias. So you can support us there as well at the Foreign Lady Pod. Until next week, we'll see you all next time. Bye.